Membership, as the commercial says, has its privileges. Already the person I most wanted to be, the person who in effect would allow me to stop thinking about it, changes shape, changes direction. She is like Achilles, running as fast as he can, going nowhere. The television is always on. The house is perfectly neat. No one worries about money. Our fat mother hides at home or crosses the cornfields alone. On the day Karen Carpenter dies, she turns from the telephone. She gets back to desperate redecoration. Who believes it is possible to just turn off the television? I ate my breakfast because my stomach wanted it. Do you want to be Kate Winslet or Courtney Thorne-Smith? We all know the body's hold on our most intimate sense of what is, what matters, of what we must pursue for ourselves are danger signals that should rivet our attention and bond us to collective action. But they don't. Why? Some of the other patients aren't, my sister says, so negative. We stare across plastic menus in a cold, bright corner of Utah across from the Pope's table. Someone is giving birth or about to be married. My sister wears an embroidered silk dress with jewelry. She wants a Coca-Cola, a Twizzler, or some French fries. Her Shake Hydro Silk, I Love Lucy, a hairdryer, her iPhone. Self-pleading is a privilege and poses special problems. It reminds her of what she has been, worshiping the gorgeous girls from afar, and everything she is not, of character or generosity of spirit. There is only one body, and it is everywhere around her, with a rib or a hamburger. When you are 16, it is all solid blocks of pain. Too much there, if you know what I mean. Where even the brave, how would you say, have no windows. There are chicken wings stirring in those vanished kitchens. It is the first really flawless afternoon, leafless near the sapling end of spring. Our mother, like everyone else, she clings to her humanity, won't eat. Her mind is wearing out at the top, like stars. I keep a picture in my mind of what I want to look like if I can stay thin like Peter Pan, and what's happening to me already, my heart beating like hay balls through a stereoscope. It is conceivable, we know this from history, to starve oneself so as to account for something in one's own life. The eating disorder is a not unkind acknowledgement of whatever disappointments and or failures I carry with me. It is also conceivable, this we too know from history, it's not just the patient who has anorexia nervosa, the family has the disease. In a society where consumption and identity are pervasively linked, prolonged and intentional starvation is a vehicle for making a statement about identity and personal dreams. Personal agenda, resolved, not to talk about my body, not to talk about Ed. Hereafter, I'm going to eat in calories of food. I consume very slowly, graham crackers and Crystal Light, white couscous with diet butter, low-fat fajitas and frozen yogurt, miniature cheeseless egg replacer quiches. Deliberately, I engage in daily self-conscious self-scrutiny of my belly. I'm a lying, hysterical adolescent. I abuse my nerves, I commit symbolic matricide. Thin is beautiful is good. As a personally constructed form of political protest, I stop eating meat. I take an egg bite out of sugar-free vanilla fudge. God alone knows how far I am going, but in one essential way, I have already arrived. Like Midas with his golden touch, the potential for spreading disaster is there all along. 1. Nothing seems to boost my self-esteem when I feel fat. 2. What is normal body fat? 3. There is no 3 to what I know. 3. That looks so pretty on you, I say, your necklace and your dress. Order anything, our father says unhappily. You want anything. My sister stares through the menu with the blue eyes of angels. Salmon, she says. Fettuccine Alfredo, she says. Cherry Coke. Pretend one day our mother says, do you really want that much chicken? Or don't you think it's better without dressing? Avoid the 3 S's. Diet soda, dessert, second helpings. Eliminate butter, salt, white sugar, red meat, wedding cake, chocolate. Bread, pasta, rice, bananas, coconut liquor, Diet Coke. You will be tempted, and you will have to choose whether you will enjoy yourself enormously in 20 minutes or whether you will dislike yourself cordially for 2 or 3 days for your lack of willpower. To be hungry is, in a sense, a faux pas. It is a matter of self-esteem. To be another fat woman in America constitutes a failure of personal identity. What, for example, we understand is normal body fat. Airbrushed, we understand, is still the primary source of self and objectification. Body, where if we are not careful in being vigilant, we will turn into our mothers. The chop, it waits in the night and the bright sunshine, and each piece of earth is good enough and greedy for our ending. I dream of a body that cannot be injured, violated, or sickened unless it chooses to be. An impermeable, self-sufficient body, not subject to uncontrollable needs or desires, be they its own or those of others. I should like, as the British poet Denise Riley writes in Waiting, to live among the leaves and heather like the birds, to wear a dress of feathers, and to eat berries. Anorexia nervosa was, we know this from history, born in the 19th century, flourished at the end of the 20th, and it seems uncompromised in the new millennium. Moreover, it is a syndrome with a specific cultural address, i.e. Middle America. Appearance plays too important a part in a girl's life not to have her grow up to be beauty conscious. As historian Joan Jacob Broomberg cautions us, regardless of social class, the body is still the American girl's most powerful paradigm. Or, as Helena Rubinstein sums it up in her 1930s advice manual, The Art of Feminine Beauty, an abundance of fat is something repulsive and not in accord with the principles that rule our conception of the beautiful. How to stop agonizing in a world in which your body is very, very important. It does not pass. We are held to it. No matter which way you added up the rose-drenched girls, they must go to school and be thin. Concealment, privacy, our airbrushed cheeks, our boob jobs, our carbohydrate counting, our skinny jeans, our 24-inch waistlines. Nothing is unique. I am writing about a monstrous ordinariness, a symptom of our wired post-industrial, post-feminist, post-humanist society, an expression of the individualism of our time. It is Friday in the mid-90s and you do not, the Nike advert advises, have to be your mother unless she is who you want to be. You do not have to be your mother's mother or your mother's mother's mother. You may inherit their chins or their thighs, but you are not destined to be the women who came before you. My sister half clears her plate, flutters, her mind around the salmon, butter sauce, and peas, like a sparrow. I don't think I can eat this. Should I call your mother and tell our father says her to book a flight? I don't, my sister says no. Well, I told her our father says to clear her schedule. It's the end of the 20th century, tornadoes fall down and drown themselves in the Mississippi. Pink and white 4 o'clock sunsets. All her faith seems to be turning inwards. Our mother carries it in her freckled skin. That secret bit of humanity tucked inside the wreck we make of motherhood. Everything in her life that could go wrong did go wrong. There's nothing left to go wrong. Love them, she thinks, and leave them alone. Maybe the past weaves free like cows on telephones. Maybe fate is like this in gravity's grip, hopelessly retrograde. Maybe her God is inventing a secret country in the yellow mud. She doesn't want to get lost in a hospital somewhere. I butter toast. I eat a bit of beefsteak the size of a caramel. I forget my keys, I get a haircut. The fat-free body and the panic of what comes after, I think. In between, I think. Uncooled in the morning dope light. I have stood at the edge and fallen in. I've been lured and slammed my elbows against the walls. The places where I'm thinnest lie quiet until dinner. It takes physical arrogance, the arrogance it takes to turn disaster into art. Anorexia is, we know this from history, an affluent miracle. Anorexia did not exist when women's options were more limited. Anorexia, we know this too from history, is the good girl's primary strategy for passive defiance. Like the alcoholic, the anorectic denies her problem. Her addiction to starvation is a stereotypical behavior pattern that illustrates a national trend. Most Americans abuse their nerves from cradle to grave. By 13, 53% of American girls are unhappy with their bodies. By 17, 78%. The anorectic, in other words, is the dutiful daughter of the curious psychic burdens of a people with plenty. She cannot be both the author of the body and the body itself. In professional come-hither eyes, the housewife weighs chicken breasts and takes long, joyless walks. She eats, only not so much. It is 1968, the year of the No More Miss America demonstration, and our mother is born impossibly on Christmas Day. In other time zones, women burn girdles, curlers, false eyelashes, wigs, ladies' home journal, cosmopolitan, family circle, etc. in freedom trash cans. Nose jobs get done over lunch hour. The best villainess arouses men, and often to evil. Hard bodies drop to therapy and feathered hair. What memories of history will our daughters have? 4 waffles and unlimited coffee at 30-something. Sugar-free Jell-O, promised margarine and Miracle Whip. The First Lady's oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. A pregnant housewife ordering a strawberry daiquiri. Where you and your food can be alone. Be the best calorie you can be. Our mother cuts 4 lighter slices in America. When your sister is 22 and has a 20-minute time limit for hand washing, it is a debt to be met with each decade. An act she has a right to as a grown woman and a free agent. We pass Aspen with the rough height of January, sparrows grateful to witness our passage, barking dogs across dark intersections, anonymous confetti aftermath of a wedding. Appetite is not, my sister says, a vehicle for making a statement about identity and personal dreams. If you can leave your work, you can leave. You will be tempted, my sister says, and will have to choose whether you will enjoy yourself enormously in 20 minutes or dislike yourself for 2 to 3 days for your lack of willpower. She's on the verge of becoming a new person, unsequenced and on the far side of fate. Robin, for example, my sister says, is not actually an inpatient and is allowed dinners and weekends at home, but my sister says she pays extra to stay overnight and for Sunday dinner. She has, my sister says, 5 kids. Meals, my sister says, are very chaotic and she can't focus on eating. I have a dream. I am 16. I changed my handwriting. I'm 105 in an invulnerable silhouette, clean and hard as the Christian martyrs. I am nearly so thin I die of envy. I take up cigarettes, I cut my hair in the severest way possible, I buy a gold and cream micro bikini, I fall in love with candy anger and sleep. My belly moves when I move, distorting my motives. One demented moment later, I'm 25. I'm always thinking I have left the pain behind me, but sure enough, here it is, this awful past full of enormous secrets. Words will never be able to fill it. I am 25, and I mean this. The world won't, I say, ever be as good as you think you can make it. Don't expect anything, I say. That way, you can't ever be disappointed, and if you're lucky, something good will happen and you'll be surprised. Everything in life it's just one thing at a time. To get anything out of it, you have to let yourself be broken. Like so, the Victorian breast or the silken thighs. But it's simply, once you look yourself again, you won't have to worry about it so goddamn much. Freedom is only possible when you believe in no one. I leave a message, moving west. Just shy of the end of the century, hemmed in by invisible mountains, our father orders coconut hazelnut low-fat lattes, and we stare at a framed map of pink Canada and buttercup United States and an upside-down trombone. Promise me, my sister says, you won't tell Dad. Promise, she says, you won't tell Dad. You have to promise first. Okay. I can't, she says, eat in front of her right now. You can't, she says, tell Dad. When you look outwards, you must look upwards to see people, your father. I go there and do that. The little decorations of ambition are thin braids laid over the surface of the dread of this misremembering. He loves us, but he can't be trusted. Try it. Who gets blamed for who? In the last stages of separation, my sister says, you recognize as rules in your life. You learn to distinguish, my sister says, between the standards Ed holds for you and healthy boundaries, which, she says, you set for yourself. Then, she says, you understand that Ed's rules don't make sense and in fact are designed to harm you, and you can act from a position of personal strength and positive self-esteem. You can, she says, forgive yourself and even learn self-acceptance. You can, she says, eat what you want, wear comfortable clothes, chew slowly and digest. Elbow to the sink, and I don't want this memory. I want, I think, a drink. I want, I think, to take her by the shoulders and say, where have you? Has your dream gone? It's 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday when the new century could thrive, mortality could care less. There is no order of events, there are no events. All that matters is the detail. My sister marries a preacher, buys a condominium in the suburbs, teaches inner city second grade, worries her students are victims of neglect or sexual abuse, and sometimes they are. She is 22, she has made a terrible mistake. Her real self is a world apart from everything she has been trained to believe and admire. Like everyone else, my sister clings to her destiny. Can't be this. Practical, realistic, humorous, and hopeful, life without Ed puts a personal face on her problems. Salvation, that is beauty, can be achieved. It is the state of being. It can't be purchased, but it can be earned. Every day, she takes her pills. Every day, she will challenge herself to order what she wants, to plate herself a manageable portion, to eat until she feels satisfied. I am the same. I am 25 and I have not changed. What I wish for vibrates in a permanent presence. The body, dead, not pride. And an obscene silk party dress. All of a piece without seams. It will go on waiting for you until the day you enter it. Writing about it is not necessarily therapeutic. Perhaps this is why I scarcely write about it. However clearly and deeply my life's aspirations are involved with it. Look, we're all eating pizza. We all admit it, we do. Buy into the beauty anxiety. Complimenting each other's body, hair, and dress are how we connect with our sex. We strip our imaginations to the flesh, instinct as much with love as hatred and despair. We probably cannot give this up entirely. Being a modern woman in America in the 21st century is like that, turning and going where nothing wants it, where the door opens and a road of light falls through it from behind you, and the body starts to whisper with your own voice. With the overwatered apocalyptic moon and mountains on every horizon, you can't, I say, think this is a good idea. The potency of a mother's influence can undermine even a healthy, confident philosophy of self. How much have we changed? How much has enormous ruins? I know she loves us, but recent research suggests a certain, I say, kind of mother, frustrated, I say, perfectionist, passive, unable to mirror her child. That's chicken shit. Be an adult. Get out or get out of the way. Frantic flakes and an arrested star like a billiard cue. The immense truth, I say, and its white arguments. You forget. What is it you need to forget, our Father says. A healthy brain, our Father says, needs to forget. She doesn't, our Father says, remember. Silence. Try not to make you notice. A poplar sways without its limbs, the highway swings up to sky. You know, you can tell when she's faking, and I really don't, our Father says, think she is. I'm not even sure our Father says, remember. Our mother eats a pint of cherry tomatoes and 24 gala apples. We, her little world, have made her flabby and faint-hearted. Her hunger is enormous. It's impossible to say no. Even after she is full, she fears the next hour in which her hunger will begin again. She will never be thin again. She will never recover. Instead of thunderflies, she wants perhaps buttercups, or a cuticle moon, casting its shadow nowhere. By 13, our Father says 53% of American girls are unhappy with their bodies. It's statistically, our Father says, probable. There never was, our Father says, any question of motive. You do it because you do it. Hot coffee and the stars go running through my heart. It's no one's, our Father says, fault. What's most frightening of all is the very existence of this possibility appearing above the horizon where it had no reason to be at all. I can't read. Whatever I dreamt washes itself away, equal parts muscle and doubt. In the pastels of winter sunlight, the carnations of my heart rearrange themselves in the belly jar. To lay bare the white ribs of truth to my sister, to add to eternal vigilance the price of health and beauty. Which is it? Unsequined or on the far side of memory? How could I, she say? How could she, I say, forget? Everything, I say, she could do wrong, did go wrong. How could she, I say, forget? Postscript. So lonely blooming. The memory cannot be glued, cannot be penned, so the music can enter. And so I come to the grace notes of anorexia. What will be eaten, in what order, at what time of day. Sometimes I believe I made it up. Essential and inexhaustible, like a circus act. It is always there, implicitly telling me how to act and what to think, what I like and don't like, who I am. Our own parents are, after everything, only our siblings in the world. They cannot protect us, they cannot save us. At best, they will stay out of our lives. At best, they won't make anything worse. You think your parents are capable of change? That, if they must be only your siblings in the world, they will grow up with you. But they won't. They've already done their growing up. They're stuck right as they are. You can go on, but you can't take them with you. At some point, You have to give up on yourself and move on. I will not. I will not. Yes, on my own. Like so. A newborn mermaid or Margot Hemingway with her hair wet. Newly emancipated, I have little in the way of useful experiential guides. In a strapless white evening dress, I seem eyes over my shoulder, looking at someone who stands behind me a little to my left. Fashionable in the unnatural slenderness of 16. Walt say that crazy I loved myself once. We sit on lawn chairs beside Christmas morning in the old New World. This is where we must look to find ourselves. Over there, a rabbit who thinks we have vanished forever, who can't hear anything and is enjoying himself. Over there, our lives are eaten away at both ends. There remains a small thigh in our left hand. It's impossible as always crux at the night of our meets. Clockwise, we love Ed. Impact is what happened before it's difficult to recall. If she were not she, but you, truly manly deeply. And who are we to know? The line between fiction and fact and family stories goes through the living room. Who does what, silver coin, to whom, fish belly, and to what end? If my sister says, you look at yourself and see what's right instead of what is wrong, that is the true mark of a healthy individual. It is a not unkind, I say, acknowledgement of whatever disappointments and or failures we carry. A blue jay walks one down beside the Roosevelt bush. There is something like gunpowder on the needlepoint of speech. It could also be a meteor. It would not give up until we invented some sort of expression to capture it. To be sure, this shipwrecks our point of view. The biological self, she says, is a kindly fiction. Heaven can, she says, wait, and her beauty is not immune. Including our mother, she says, as a daughter with her own right to despair. Hi, our father writes, I hope all is well in Vermont. We heard, he writes, a presentation today about coordination, population-based care with a statewide system of health information exchange and care coordination incentives. Pretty good. Not too many places in the U.S. doing that. By the way, how is your foot? I got an email from the ortho department saying they got no answer to your cell. I guess they finally got around to your consultation. I've read your first book of poetry twice. Sometimes a tear came to my eyes, sometimes I laughed. Mostly I smiled. Sometimes I got a lump in my throat. I'm very proud of you. I'll talk to you soon. Love, Dad Hop. Great ribbons of highway or scout vein across the great plains of buffalo and telephone pole. It's 11 o'clock, and how much has the world changed since we, born of big sky possibility that believes in prophecy and the persecuted, bothered to look? And one pause of silver birds solid and gone. If you are 16 and you have no idea, I tell you it scarcely matters. Ed is a need, a commitment, a rage, a matter of self-respect, and that's all there is for it. Once a thing's done, there's no one knows how it happened. To claim understanding would be a kindly fiction. I understand nothing and have no way of writing fluently about this past. There are no characters, no order of events. There are no events. I am the same. I have not changed. I don't understand anything any more than I did at 16 or 25. It becomes increasingly difficult for me to access my own meaning. The intellectual framework that enshrouds my working life protects what happened from being examined. It makes a lubricated narrative of how our lives misstep or mistake, how sometimes not getting the whole story or the right moral or the self the way it was supposed to happen can be the very thing that makes it possible to celebrate the life being lived, rather than simply represent or record it. It's the age of the micro-bikini, and the body does not pass. We are held in it. Personal agenda. Resolved not to talk about my body. To stop agonizing in a world where your body is very, very important. As soon as I look halfway decent again, I won't have to worry about it so much. When I'm thin, what's thin? I can stop thinking about it. Theories are fine, but in the end, no theory can eclipse the power of the body, the power of the forbidden, the power of addiction, the need to control the body's shadowy hunger, its hidden shame, and sense of guilt. Put it simply, in America in the age of the micro-bikini, if I dislike my thighs, I am unlikely to like myself. This is what I know about what it means to be a woman in the modern world. Of course, I would prefer to redecorate the reality with optimistic catchphrases, to hide behind generational problems, to make intelligent suggestions. The future identity of generations of modern women is still being prepared, and after 3 decades of struggle for liberation from our bodies, we are in trouble. We are still confused about what and how it means for a woman to have power as well as self-esteem. I'm talking about how we are positive role models in a climate of diminishing cultural tolerance for body fat. I'm talking about what our daughters need, or what we imagine our daughters need, or what we imagine our daughters would have wanted were they not born in the age of the micro-bikini. Because our bodies belong, as it were, to them.